Hey guys, welcome to Clockwork, Noodles for another breakdown of the Apothecary Diaries. This is episode 19. A big apology for the delay in the release. I got really sick. I've been running a fever all day and I just did not feel up to doing a video on the Saturday. So I've had to bump everything backwards. In the long run, I think it works better anyway because it gives you guys a chance to actually watch the video. I don't think I'll keep it like this because I think next week it's only Apothecary Diaries going out because there's a bump in Solo Leveling's release. So if you are actually here for both videos, there's no Solo Leveling next week just because it's a recap video and there's been a bump in the broadcasting, so there's some delays on that side of things. Apothecary Diaries, as far as I'm concerned, hasn't moved or anything. I think it will just be that show, which is fine because I've got tons to say about this episode, and I think this was always going to be the big episode from what I had heard anyway. When it comes to things like spoilers, if you guys do notice a blatant spoiler in the comments, can you guys just flag it? Put things underneath it, let me know that it's there, because we are having really bad issues with spoilers when it comes to this show in particular. Solo Leveling had one this week as well, so I can't say that it's just Apothecary, but we do seem to be having a bit of an issue at the moment when it comes to that. It does suck because I wanted this week to be that impactful, and I can imagine if you didn't have any back knowledge, this week would have been impactful. You'd have been like, oh my god, there it is. It's all like laid out before you. So much happens this week. I kind of knew it was happening. I actually managed to actually close my eyes when she got smacked because I knew that was going to happen as well. I'm kind of glad I didn't look because my girl, I love my girl and I don't want to see her get beaten up. But it was just heartbreaking to see her bleeding everywhere. Before we get going, make sure you guys are subscribed. My midway review is out. Go check it out if you haven't already. We're going to have end of season review coming up, and we're also going to have my overview for spring. Currently, spring isn't interesting me that much. There's a lot coming out of returning shows, but I need to go back through it properly when I don't feel ill. I think being ill isn't helping because I'm reading things and going, it just doesn't sound interesting, but it probably will. I'll need to go back through it again. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you are looking after yourselves. I really do hope that this year is treating you well. Let's just go straight to it. The biggest thing I had when I started watching Apothecary Diaries was, I think I told somebody in the comments, I really hope everything is connected. I hope that it's not just this is one case and that's it. It's just a solo case. It stands on its own. It has no meaning. This week, it has been confirmed that every single tiny minor case that we have covered has all been connected. There's been a through thread. There's been something connecting them all that has made Apothecary Diaries just an interconnection of building and building up until this point, up until we get to, I guess, somebody wanting to off Jinshi, which is interesting because, again, somebody also needs to know who he is. I think there's plenty of motive to off the guy. That's the big question, is going to come down to who. I want to say Shady, but I feel like that's too obvious at the moment. So initially I was wondering, like, why would somebody steal ceremonial tools? I don't quite know. It does seem that the thing that they stole was the joints on the beam. That's all I can really click, because that clicks with the brother case, the one where they all got left something from the dad and it ends up going down to one guy. That case kind of came into it very last. The warehouse manager also being poisoned by seaweed. I thought he was dead, but apparently he's just like in a coma or missing. The missing part is very suspicious. If he's missing, we should probably look into that. And obviously the other guy was the guy who died by salt. Every single one of these seems to be linked. And when he said that the pipe had belonged to the court lady, that he couldn't see the face, somebody who would smell like medicine, all I could think of was Shuri. And obviously it's the same name that came up when it comes to Mau Mau. It's her also thinking, yes, it's probably her, but her dad's words come to brain and she's like, I can't just say the name. It seems like a very logical jump. I don't have the evidence to back it up right now. So as she says, if her name comes up by accident, then at least it wasn't me. That seems to be a very Mau Mau thing. I will give them the information they need. And if they also arrive at the same conclusion, that's all the better as well. I think she knows that she can't go too far because a lot of the times, as she will say, is I'm just a servant. I don't have the power I need to really get my word out there. And this week, you really feel that frustration with her having no status, because if she had had a bit more status, she would have probably just been allowed in. I don't think the guy Garden is linked. I don't think he's actually linked with the conspiracy that went down. I think he really was just pissed off that a girl had spoken to him rudely. because that seems to be a thing that we're seeing in the palace as well. It's like a sub-thread that has been running through the plot often enough, is the power levels, the status that women don't kind of hold. And a lot of that is coming down to stuff that's slowly being covered in the story, which makes the story itself very deep, very complex. And I've always complimented the story for many different things, but this week really was the shining moment for the story when it all came to the pinnacle, the head. The gloom emanating from this face started to leak through my screen. I felt it so much. I love him. He is really the king of faces. Everybody in this anime is quite good at faces, but Jinshi is particularly very good at faces. He's good at turning on the charm, then turning it off again, and being real when he wants. I did think that this seems like progress, because normally she doesn't actually clue Jinshi straight in. She's like, okay, I'll tell you if I have to, but this time around, actually, you know what? I think you might find interest in this. So she actually does say, can I have your opinion on something? And then she tells him. So I think that is progress between the two as well, which I really, really like. Now, when he said Bezoar, the only thing that came to my mind was, Mr. Potter, where would you look if I told you to find me a Bezoar? Very bad Snape impression, but that is literally my only interactions when it comes to the idea of a Bezoar. I knew it was in the gut. I do think it kind of looks like a potato in this picture, but I would not want to eat it. It's just gallbladder stones, isn't it? I didn't expect cows to have gallbladder stones. I know, like humans, I think it's fatty stuff that kind of doesn't digest and it turns into a stone. And it's not actually a stone, but I don't know. That's my understanding of what a gallbladder stone is. This is apparently a really rare source of medication, and she is so lively that she's literally climbing all over his desk. At the end, and she says, can I have the ox Bezoar now? Did she actually figure it out? She was looking for a link. I think he said, if you can find a connection or something, I'll let you have it. She arrived at the conclusion, but Jinshi probably had absolutely zero idea of what just happened, because he's probably just in shock that he's not a flat pancake right now, and as well, her being there. Does she deserve the ox Bezoar? Are we going to give her the ox Bezoar? I mean, the girl definitely deserves it after her ordeal. Has she actually hit the nail on the head? Does she actually know who's behind it or anything? Let's give a huge clap and a half when it comes to this beautiful sequence, the sequence here where there are so many details that I can't even count. There's colour, there's patterns, there's scrolls, there's different types of media. You can see where there's fabric work. It's absolutely beautiful, and I love the fact that all of this foreshadowing builds up to the last chunk. I am reading my notes and I didn't know what was coming at that point. I've even said, no doubt this is what's about to happen. Somebody is after Jinshi. Somebody wants Jinshi out. Don't know who. I read my notes. I do actually kind of go off them a little bit. It allows me to at least structure my videos. I love the fact that it's all black and white in her head, and then it all comes together and she suddenly goes, wait, this is it. I have just hit the nail on the head. Somebody is literally about to die. But every single case has linked into one. It deserves a round of applause, because initially it comes across as some of these cases are random. They look so random, especially the one with the brothers. I didn't actually have much to say on that episode. In general, I thought it was quite fillery. But no, it's not filler. Nothing is filler. Everything has had a purpose, and it's leading up to this moment, and it's absolutely insane, because her running towards the building as well. Opening number 1 ends with her running to the building. We don't know why. And this is it. It's all been climaxing towards Jinshi gonna get made into a pancake. It's actually insane. Obviously, somebody out there knows something about Jinshi, or maybe they just want to off him because he's too high. Maybe he's in the way. Maybe it's the brother, and he's like, I don't want to have my brother there in case he's going to try and usurp me. Because I swear that is my understanding of otome games when they're set in China. Most of the time, the second brother is nearly like a threat to the older brother or something, and there's always like this infighting, and one wants the throne, one doesn't. Obviously, this isn't set on otome games or China, but it is based on Chinese stuff, and a lot of those tropes I think are still kind of here, but not quite. If it is the brother, that's me really digging deep here. I have absolutely nothing to go on, but I'm just trying to go down the route of who would want to off Jinshi. Why would they want to off him? It's very powerful. Maybe it's somebody who's just been wronged by him or something. This episode has done a lot more than just obviously show us who Jinshi is, and the fact that his status is really high. I mean, he's a noble. The bit where she confronts the guard is just manic. That up until this point, Mamao's kind of been a bit low-key. Whenever she has a theory, she doesn't always come out with it. This point, she rests everything and her head on this theory. If that pillar had not fallen, Mama would have died. The anime would be over. There's no way they would have gone, oh yeah, we're gonna not behead the person who's interrupted the most sacred of ceremonies. She would have died. You've interrupted it, and you're a woman, and we're basically just going to get beheaded. As she even said, I'm putting my head on it. And I love the fact when she turns it around and says, like, if you won't let me in, you clearly must be involved. Just wasn't expecting how hard he would hit her, and the fact that she even says, I'm losing consciousness. I felt so bad. I just did not want to look when I saw her get hit. Lady Larkin is behind her. I don't know. Does Larkin know it's her from her voice and from standing behind her? Because he seems all okay with going, you should step aside and let her in. If he was connected, and I was at one point thinking it was probably him, because it does seem to be centering around a few things, and I had a few pins on how shady he's been. But that could be a misdirect. The anime does a lot of misdirects at times. I don't know if he knew it was her until she came out, because at the end he clearly put two and two together, especially when he saw Jinshi there. But then I don't know if that face at the end was down to Jinshi still being alive and not a pancake, or her being actually hurt and realising it's her. The fact that she refused to even look behind her. Could you imagine if she had looked behind her and Shady didn't actually know it was her until she looks behind her and he's just like, oh, bugger. He did not look impressed when he saw the state of Mama coming out. Soft expression with Jinshi at the end was just absolutely cutting deep. The first thing she's concerned about is, can I have my Oxbees, or can I have it now? I might be bleeding out and I'm bleeding all over you, and you know, I've just ruined the ceremony, and at least you're safe, you're not a pancake. But can I have my Oxbees, or I was dead. It was just amazing to see the sequence come together. Jinshi's priorities are like, oh my god, are you dying? Don't die. Him telling her to like stay with him and everything was just really hurting me. Everything on this one decision to try and save his life. I'm very excited to see where we go next week. I really want to know what the consequences of this is going to be, because this feels huge. This feels absolutely huge. Somebody tried to kill him. So she saved his life. That's got to count for something. But that face at the end, so Larkin's face, I still don't know if it's because she's hurt and he's finally realised that that's his daughter, or Jinshi is not a pancake. It's one or the two. It could be a mix of both. Maybe he wasn't expecting Jinshi to be a pancake and it to be his daughter who tried to save the pancake. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of a Jinshi pancake. It sounds quite sexy. Maybe somebody's going to make a Jinshi pancake out there with like pancake art. That would be really, really cool. Was he aware when he approached is what I really want to know. I hope at some point the anime covers that, or at least we get a bit more of his reaction. There's so much going on. The insert song too, with the male vocals, is just perfect. It could be the VA for Jinshi. I don't want to say it is, because I don't know if the VA can sing. Most of the times, VAs do kind of sing, so it wouldn't surprise me if you told me that Jinshi was singing in the song, and he's maybe singing about her. That would be really nice. Maybe that's a moment where he really did kind of realise he cared for her because she was bleeding in his arms. I was thinking, though, as he was walking really slowly, obviously it's a sense of ceremony and nobility. I was like, dude, can you just walk a little faster, because she's kind of bleeding out. Walk a little bit faster, please. I can presume she's not going to die from her injuries, because otherwise the show would be over. Absolutely amazing episode. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and it feels like this is what at least the first season has been building towards. We do still have 6 episodes to go. Can't do maths. We have 24 episodes. Yeah, about 6 episodes still to go. So it's not over. So whatever happens now in the last 6 episodes, it's got to be an aftermath of everything. And I can't wait to see what the aftermath is, because I think we can finally get a lot of information about Jinshi out there. I think a lot of stuff, maybe even with Larkin, might come out as well. So fingers crossed. But thank you guys so much for bearing with me. My throat feels awful right now. So I probably sound really, I don't know, low on the register. I'll find out when I edit it as well. I did that with solo. I sounded so bad in that recording. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. I really hope you're looking after yourselves. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye, guys.